We are embarking on a deep dive today into a career so long, so varied, and so surprisingly successful across completely separate fields that it sort of defies easy categorization.
Yeah, it really does.
We are tracing the 40-year journey of a singular figure who mastered the art of professional duality, Fisher Stevens.
It's truly a study in strategic reinvention, isn't it? I mean, if you know him as the cynical, desperate media fixer Hugo Baker from HBO's Succession.
Oh, right. That's who comes to mind for many now.
Exactly. You might be shocked, genuinely shocked, to learn he's also an Oscar-winning producer of, groundbreaking environmental documentaries.
These two different people.
It really is. For many viewers, he is either that extremely recognizable 80s, 90s character actor, from things like Short Circuit.
Oh, definitely.
Or he is the modern staple of prestige television. The reality is that he has expertly maintained both identities simultaneously.
So let's unpack this mission. We're looking at Stephen Fisher, known professionally as Fisher Stevens, born in Chicago, November 27, 1963. We need to analyze not just what he did, but how. How did he manage to jump seamlessly from, say, playing an Indian robotic scientist in 1986?
A role we definitely need to talk about.
Oh, yes. And then winning an Academy Award for Best Documentary in 2010? And then dominating the small screen as a power player in the Roy family universe starting in 2019. It's quite a trajectory.
It is. And what's fascinating here, I think, is that his biography doesn't just show range. It shows immense focus on two completely different cinematic skill sets. One for performance, acting.
The public-facing side.
Exactly. And one for production and advocacy, the behind-the-scenes work. Our source material confirms this duality. It highlights his foundational roots in the fiercely disciplined New York theater scene,
which we'll get into.
His crucial success in prestige TV roles like The Blacklist and, of course, Succession, and maybe most importantly, the hardware he's acquired as a producer.
Yeah, the awards.
Notably, the Academy Award for The Cove. The point is, he's not just dabbling. He's mastered both the on-screen brand and the complex mechanics of off-screen filmmaking.
Okay, so let's establish the foundations then. Where did it all start? Stevens grew up in Chicago, moving between some pretty different environments. Hyde Park, Highland Park, Evanston.
Right, different parts of the area.
He has often described his formative years, pretty succinctly actually, as being a white Jewish kid from Chicago. And that context, varied backgrounds, maybe feeling a bit like an outsider sometimes. That seems pretty critical when we look at the choices he made later on.
I think so, too. And that Chicago chapter, it closed pretty abruptly when his parents divorced. He was 13, I believe.
Yeah, around that age.
And that led him and his mother to move to New York. That geographic shift was absolutely pivotal.
Huge change.
It placed him directly in the epicenter of the American acting scene, right? And by the age of 16, just 16, he landed his very first film role. That was in 1981.
What film was that?
He appeared in the horror film The Burning.
Okay, The Burning. Got it. And he didn't waste any time with, traditional academic routes, did he?
No, not really. He completed just 1 year at New York University. Just one.
So he dipped his toe in.
Right, before making the conscious decision to commit to acting full-time. It seems like he knew exactly where he wanted to be,
That clarity, that focus.
Yeah. And that decision to focus led directly to the critical professional maneuver that established the recognizable brand we know today, the name change.
Right, the name. He was born Stephen Fisher.
Correct. But he was forced, essentially, to adopt the stage name Fisher Stevens. Why? Because the Screen Actors Guild, SAG, already had multiple existing members registered as Stephen Fisher.
That's the practical hurdle.
Completely pragmatic, born out of necessity. Yet looking back, it seems to have had these massive, perhaps unforeseen strategic benefits throughout his career.
How so?
Well, that early branding of Fisher Stevens as the recognizable actor, it sort of allowed Stephen Fisher, the man, the guy who co-founded theater companies and directs these hard-hitting documentaries, it allowed him to operate with a degree of, let's say, intellectual and creative separation.
Interesting. Like two distinct identities operating in parallel.
Exactly. It's almost a case study in calculated brand separation, even if it started accidentally.
That makes a lot of sense.
I think so. It maybe gave him license to take on projects that might seem, discordant with the public image of the quirky character actor.
Okay, but you mentioned theater earlier. That seems like the real bedrock.
Absolutely. The true foundation of his discipline, the root of his ability to pivot between performance and direction, is the stage. In 1986, he co-founded the Naked Angels Theater Company.
Right here in New York City.
Yep. alongside longtime friends, including folks like Rob Morrow and Nancy Travis. And this wasn't just, a casual thing. It was a serious artistic endeavor.
Establishing his own theater company. I mean, that speaks volumes, doesn't it? About his desire for creative control, his dedication to the craft itself.
Definitely. And we are talking about a nearly 30-year career just on stage, Broadway, off-Broadway.
Wow, 30 years.
Yeah, acting in and directing over 50 stage productions. Think about that. That sort of repetition, that immersion in narrative structure. It's the best possible training for a director, isn't it?
Absolutely. You learn story from the inside out.
And he wasn't just doing, fringe shows in basements. He was successfully inserted into some of the most critically acclaimed works of the era. Consider his role back in 1982.
Okay.
The Broadway production of Harvey Fierstein's landmark play, Torch Song Trilogy.
Oh, wow. Huge play.
Huge. Stevens played David Beckoff, the adopted son of the protagonist, Arnold Beckoff.
Yeah.
That's a pivotal role in a foundational piece of LGBTQ plus theater history.
Talk about establishing credibility immediately. That's major league.
Right out of the gate. And then he followed that up by taking over the starring role of Eugene Jerome in the original Broadway production of Neil Simon's Brighton Beach Memoirs.
He took over that role. From who?
He succeeded none other than Matthew Broderick.
Wow. Stepping into Matthew Broderick's shoes in a hit Neil Simon play. That's pressure.
Immense pressure. And it proves his ability to handle it, right? To handle stepping into a massive commercial and critical hit.
Clearly. He wasn't intimidated.
Doesn't seem like it. He was consistently challenging himself. And we also see his collaborative nature surfacing early on. In 1988, he appeared alongside the remarkable John Leguizamo.
Ah, Leguizamo. That connection comes up later too, right?
It absolutely does. This was in a production of A Midsummer Night's Dream. Stevens played Demetrius. This initial partnership would prove really foundational for their later work together, decades later in the 2010s.
It's amazing how those early connections loop back.
It really is. And just to sort of cap off that intense stage period, he played Jigger Cragen in the 1994 Lincoln Center revival of Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel.
Carousel too. So drama, comedy, musicals.
He covered a lot of ground. His stage career alone is more than enough to qualify him as a serious industry veteran.
No question. Yet, for the vast majority of listeners, probably, his early fame rests entirely on one highly complex, deeply embedded piece of 80s pop culture.
Which transitions us perfectly into his mainstream visibility. The definitive, iconic film role for an entire generation. It's undoubtedly Benjavatuya, later renamed Benjaveri in 1986's Short Circuit.
And Short Circuit 2 in 88.
And the sequel, yes.
Okay, here is where we encounter the paradox of his early success, isn't it? Stevens, as we established, is a white Jewish kid from Chicago.
Right.
Playing an Indian robotic scientist. We have to acknowledge the cultural complexity, the controversy, really, surrounding that casting.
Absolutely. We have to.
Yeah.
While the performance itself was highly memorable and it absolutely launched his film career,
It definitely did.
the choice to cast a non-South Asian actor in that role reflects the problematic and often insensitive casting practices that were pretty common in 1980s Hollywood.
It's a different lens we look through now, for sure.
It is. That's the crucial context. It's a performance that is absolutely central to his identity as that character actor from the 80s, yet it exists now under a specific, unavoidable historical critique.
Right. But that role, problematic casting aside, it did establish his persona, didn't it? The, technically brilliant, slightly awkward, quick-talking sidekick or scientist.
That was the mold, yeah. And he quickly parlayed that into other cult favorites.
Like Henry Hawkins and the Flamingo Kid. That was 1984, even before Short Circuit.
Good point, yeah.
And then we hit the 90s, where his image pivots slightly, maybe towards the technological villain.
Ah, yes. He played Eugene the Plague Belford.
The Plague. The central antagonist in the 1995 cult classic, Hackers.
Yes. Hackers. What a film. And it's a perfect example of his ability to commit fully to that heightened, sometimes, over-the-top aesthetic of 90s cinema.
Totally.
The Plague, with his distinctive look, that skateboard, his intense commitment to digital mayhem. It really cemented Stevens' status as the go-to actor for roles that blended technical expertise with moral ambiguity.
You played that line really well.
He did. And who could forget his appearance as Iggy Koopa?
Oh my God, Super Mario Bros.
In the truly bizarre 1993 film version of Super Mario Bros.
Yeah, that movie is something else, but He was memorable in it.
He committed. That's the thing. And this reputation as a versatile character actor, it gave his film career tremendous longevity. It allowed him to shift smoothly into more serious adult dramas, too.
Like what?
Well, he had roles in Reversal of Fortune in 1990, playing David Marriott, the political satire Bob Roberts in 1992, and he continued working with cinematic auteurs like Woody Allen in Anything Else back in 2003.
So he kept working consistently through different genres.
Exactly. But I think the key to his legitimacy in the modern prestige cinema world is his relationship with Wes Anderson.
Ah, the Wes Anderson connection. That's a big one.
It really is. Being part of the coveted Wes Anderson Repertory Company, I mean, that's a sign of immense respect from a very specific, very influential corner of the industry.
And their collaborations are pretty extensive. It shows a deep professional trust.
Totally. He was in the Grand Budapest Hotel in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
He voiced Scrap in the stop-motion animated film Isle of Dogs in 2018.
Great voice work there.
And most recently, he appeared in Asteroid City just last year, 2023.
Okay, but here's the really interesting analytical detail, I think. The one that links his acting career to his off-screen ambition.
Go on.
For Anderson's 2021 film, The French Dispatch, Stevens was credited not as an actor.
Oh, right?
But as a story editor. A story editor.
That's significant.
It is. This is a creative developmental role.
Mm-hmm.
It means he was actively involved in shaping the narrative, the structural framework of a major Wes Anderson feature film.
That's a direct application, isn't it? Of the narrative discipline he learned in the theater, perfected in documentaries.
Now applied back to mainstream narrative cinema. It's fascinating.
He's the ultimate utility player, really, whatever you need.
Absolutely. Okay, shifting to television. His dedication to the medium, even while he was launching his documentarian career, it's kind of a testament to his work ethic, isn't it?
For sure. He spent 4 years as a series lead playing Chuck Fishman on the CBS series Early Edition.
I remember that show. Kyle Chandler got the newspaper the day before.
That's the one. Stevens was in it from 1996 to 2000, appeared in 48 episodes. And naturally...
Let me guess, he directed some.
You got it. He directed 2 episodes during that series run, always continuing to hone that secondary skill set.
You see that directorial impulse constantly trying to emerge, even back then.
It's always there. But the late career pivot in his acting persona, that really occurred with the rise of complex, serialized prestige television.
He sort of aged into these great roles.
He did. He transitioned seamlessly from the quirky good guy type to the complex, often cynical antagonist.
And the perfect proving ground for that new persona was probably his 7-year run as Marvin Gerard on NBC's The Blacklist.
Yes, opposite James Spader. He was on from 2015 to 2022. Appeared in 15 episodes playing this crucial, recurring, and often really morally ambiguous character.
And that role got him some recognition, didn't it?
It did. It earned him a Saturn Award nomination in 2022 for his performance. Well-deserved.
And he continued to specialize in playing that type, right? The morally compromised, powerful corporate player.
Absolutely. He was Gabriel Kovac in CBS's The Good Fight from 2017 to 2020.
That is a great role.
These consistent, high-profile antagonist roles, I think they provided the necessary financial stability and visibility
They keep it working.
to pursue the far more volatile, much riskier world of documentary film funding.
That makes sense.
Wow.
One feeds the other.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads us inevitably to the role that has truly defined his current image for the contemporary viewer. Hugo Baker in HBO's Succession.
Hugo, yeah. The weary communications executive, the spin doctor forced to clean up the endless messes of the Roy family, it felt.
Yeah.
Yeah, tailor-made for his particular genius.
He just embodied that role, the exhaustion, the cynicism, the desperation.
It was the culmination, I think, of his technical acting persona. A man who understands the mechanisms of power and, crucially, the mechanisms of spin. He appeared in 19 crucial episodes of Succession between 2019 and 2023.
And being part of that ensemble, I mean, what a cast.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And that ensemble work where every single character is sharp and essential, it really highlights his status as a master collaborator. He fit right in.
And the industry recognized that collaborative mastery, didn't they? With awards.
They did. He won 2 Screen Actors Guild Awards for Outstanding Ensemble in a drama series for Succession.
2 SAG Awards for the ensemble.
Yep, collecting hardware in both 2022 and 2024. That's a significant marker of respect from his peers, from other actors.
Absolutely. And looking beyond just the major roles, his extensive guest history. It's like a map of consistent professionalism over decades.
It really is. He played Roger, the overly analytical therapist dating Phoebe in Friends.
Oh, yeah. That episode was hilarious.
He was George Minkowski in 6 episodes of Lost. Remember him? On the freighter.
Vaguely, yeah. Lost had so many characters.
He was often appearing briefly but driving major plot points there. He had memorable appearances in Damages, The Mentalist, the intense HBO miniseries The Night Of.
The Night Of. He was fantastic in that.
A classic guest spot on Columbo way back, and multiple varied roles across the entire Law & Order universe. You name it, he's probably been on it.
It shows a performer who has worked consistently across every format imaginable and usually elevates the material,
Definitely. He always brings something interesting.
Which finally brings us to the second parallel and, you could argue, more prestigious track of his career.
Yeah.
The documentarian, producer, and director.
Yes. This is where the name Stephen Fisher truly shines through, you could say.
And he had the foresight to build the infrastructure necessary for this second career pretty early on, didn't he?
He did. Back in 1996, he co-founded Green Street Films in Tribeca, here in NYC. And this wasn't just like a vanity project. It was a functioning production house.
Do what kind of projects?
Dedicated to both narrative and nonfiction projects. So right from the mid-90s, he's thinking about both sides.
And he formalized his commitment to nonfiction even more later.
Yes. In 2010, he co-founded Insurgent Media with Andrew Karsh and Eric H. Gordon. This company was specifically focused on new media and documentary film.
So a deliberate move towards documentaries.
A calculated specialization, I'd say. Focusing on the space where he would eventually find his biggest critical success.
And that focus paid off almost immediately, didn't it?
Pretty much. It's time to talk about the Oscar.
The Oscar, yes.
In 2010, Stevens won the Academy Award for Best Documentary Feature at the 82nd Academy Awards. He won as a co-producer for The Cove.
The Cove. Such a powerful, difficult film.
Absolutely massive achievement. It's an Oscar for a film that wasn't just critically acclaimed, it was a high-stakes, covertly filmed piece of environmental advocacy, focused on that dolphin slaughter in Taiji, Japan.
The significance here, the shift in gravity is immense. He went from playing the quirky sci-fi sidekick in Short Circuit
Right.
to earning Hollywood's highest honor for exposing serious global injustice. That move, that leap, it's something few people ever successfully execute.
Very few. And his overall production slate shows incredible range, too, proving he wasn't just a one-hit documentary wonder.
What else did he produce?
Well, through Green Street and later, he produced Pinheiro in 2001, a narrative biopic about the controversial poet Miguel Pinheiro.
Okay, narrative film.
He produced the comedy Uptown Girls in 2003.
Uptown Girls.
Really?
With Brittany Murphy.
That's the one. Then back to documentary with Once in a Lifetime, the extraordinary story of the New York Cosmos in 2006, about the soccer team.
Right, the Cosmos. So narrative, comedy, sports docs.
And for a touch of contemporary pop culture shock.
Uh-oh.
He was a producer on the massive, globally viral 2020 phenomenon Tiger King.
No way. He was involved in Tiger King.
Yep. That series, which completely dominated the early pandemic viewership, earned him an Emmy nomination for Outstanding Documentary or Nonfiction Series.
Wow. Okay. His involvement in Tiger King shows his ability to spot a compelling, culturally resonant narrative no matter how. Wild.
Exactly. He has an eye for story, wherever it comes from.
So this dual expertise narrative and documentary clearly informed his directing focus too.
It seems to. He often gravitates toward environmental advocacy in his directing work, demonstrating, I think, a deep personal passion for the topic.
Like The Cove, but as a director.
Well, he directed the critically acclaimed climate change documentary Before the Flood in 2016. That's the one featuring Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right, I remember that. Got a lot of attention.
It did. The film was nominated for the People's Choice Award at the Toronto International Film Festival. He also co-directed the true crime documentary Crazy Love back in 2007.
So environmental films are one track, but he also excels in these deeply personal biographical documentaries, right? Which must require incredible sensitivity and narrative control.
Absolutely. He directed Bright Lights, starring Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds. That was 2016.
Oh, that film was heartbreaking and beautiful.
It was profoundly moving, wasn't it? Capturing the relationship between the legendary mother and daughter in their final years. It was a massive critical success. Received multiple Emmy nominations.
Including for directing.
Yes, including one for outstanding directing for a documentary program. And think about it. Directing a documentary like that involving such high-profile, complex, beloved figures, it requires the kind of narrative structure and emotional intelligence he clearly developed during his extensive stage career.
It all connects back.
It really does.
So if The Cove was his Oscar triumph for advocacy filmmaking, then his recent success, Beckham, is sort of his popular triumph in biographical storytelling.
I think that's a fair way to put it. He served as director and producer of the 2023 documentary series about the global soccer icon David Beckham,
Which everyone seemed to be watching.
Beckham was a genuine cultural moment. It was impeccably structured, blending archival footage with contemporary interviews, creating this really detailed portrait of a family, a brand, a sports dynasty.
And the critics loved it too.
Immense critical acclaim, culminating in Beckham winning the Emmy for Outstanding Documentary or Nonfiction Series just this year, 2024.
Another major award for his nonfiction work. And the sources provide that great little anecdote illustrating how integrated he is into the A-list production world.
Which one is that?
Leonardo DiCaprio, whom he worked with on Before the Flood,
Right.
apparently helped him land his director role for Beckham.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. It's a perfect example of how the professional relationships built through his acting career directly facilitate his directorial opportunities, the network effect.
Exactly. It creates this powerful synergy, doesn't it? The two halves of his career are constantly reinforcing each other.
Yeah, the acting provides the profile and the network. The directing provides the critical gravitas and, frankly, the awards.
We've covered the acting, the producing, the directing. But Steens has the heart of a true artist, it seems, which spills out into other, less defined creative outlets, particularly back on the stage.
Yes, there's that wonderful full-circle moment tied to his theatrical roots. Remember we talked about him acting with John Leguizamo back in the 80s?
In Midsummer Night's Dream, yeah.
Well, his professional theatrical directing debut was John Leguizamo's one-man show, Ghetto Clown.
Ah, he directed Ghetto Clown on Broadway.
Yep, successful run on Broadway in 2011, a direct extension of their collaboration from 20 years prior.
That's fantastic. And that profound collaboration was naturally documented, right?
Of course it was. PBS debuted Tales from a Ghetto Clown in 2012, a documentary about the show's development and tour, and it prominently featured Stevens in his capacity as the director and key collaborator.
See, even his stage directing gets documented.
It all feeds itself.
Yeah.
But his directorial credits aren't limited just to nonfiction or stage work. He has several non-documentary directorial credits, too.
Feature films.
Yeah, feature films, like Just a Kiss from 2002, The Charming Caper Stand-Up Guys in 2012, with Pacino, Walken, Arkin.
Oh, I remember that one.
And the critically respected Justin Timberlake vehicle, Palmer, from 2021.
Palmer got good reviews, yeah.
These narrative projects allow him to apply his understanding of cinematic pacing and actor direction outside the realm of fact-based filmmaking. Keeps his hand in,
Yeah. And we shouldn't overlook his foundational writing credits either. He didn't just direct, he helped create the stories sometimes.
Right. He provided the story for films like Sam the Man back in 2000 and The Green Team in 2009. It shows he's involved in story construction from the earliest phase, proving his commitment to narrative structure, which is arguably the most crucial skill a documentarian possesses.
That deep understanding of story.
Exactly. What stands out when you look at all these different projects, it's his ability to inject his personality into different mediums. And our sources hint at an unexpected talent.
Oh, what's that?
Apparently, he is an accomplished harmonica player.
A harmonica player, seriously.
That's what it says. That small detail, maybe it reflects a broader musical sensibility.
And that musical sensibility translates into some unique voice work, too, doesn't it?
It does. He performed as Edgar Allan Poe on Lou Reed's 2003 concept album, The Raven.
Wait, on Lou Reed's Raven album, as Poe.
As Poe, imagine the skill required to embody a literary figure like that on a major rock musician's complex concept album.
That's incredibly specific and cool.
Isn't it? And he's also a prolific narrator. His voice work extends into an extensive narration career.
Audiobooks.
Yeah, he's recorded several novels, including multiple works by the satirist Christopher Moore, like A Dirty Job and Lamb. The Gospel According to Biff, Christ's Childhood Pal.
Oh, the Christopher Moore books. His voice would be perfect for those.
His ability to lend his distinct voice to the written word, it just underscores his connection to literary storytelling, which, again, is the heart of documentary filmmaking.
It all weaves together. Now, just a few footnotes on his personal context and advocacy efforts before we wrap up.
Sure.
Earlier in his career, he had a pretty high-profile relationship with actress Michelle Pfeiffer. They dated from 1989 until 1992.
Right, I remember that. And currently?
He is currently married to his longtime filmmaking partner and producer, Alexis Bloom.
Ah, his partner on many projects.
Exactly. They married in 2017 in a private ceremony, and they have 2 children together. So, cementing his familial and professional partnerships there.
Good for him.
We should also mention, importantly, that he is a survivor of Hodgkin lymphoma.
Ah, okay.
Having battled a serious illness like that, it often provides crucial personal context to someone's life. Perhaps it fueled his intense dedication to environmental and social advocacy projects, which, often require great personal energy and commitment.
That's certainly possible. It can change one's perspective profoundly.
And speaking of advocacy, our sources note his involvement in recent political action related to the film industry.
Okay, what's that?
He is listed as a signatory of the Film Workers for Palestine Boycott Pledge that was published in September 2025.
Okay.
And we just report that fact neutrally, as it's provided in the source material. It's a continuing component of his public profile and his activism.
Understood. And looking ahead, is he slowing down?
It doesn't seem like it. This multifaceted career shows zero signs of decelerating. The sources note 2 films already listed in post-production, Song Sung Blue and In the Gray.
Wow. Still juggling multiple projects.
The machine is still running at full capacity. It seems his success almost depends on keeping both those parallel tracks moving forward, doesn't it?
Yeah, the acting and the producing directing seem to fuel each other.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, the learner? The synthesis of his career is truly staggering when you lay it all out.
It really is.
We have a performer who, through a practical, almost accidental name change, established a successful brand, Fisher-Stevens, that allowed him to transition from the culturally specific, now controversial role of Ben Jebituya through 90s cult cinema like Hackers and right into prestige antagonists like the morally bankrupt Hugo Baker in Succession, earning him multiple SAG awards along the way.
And simultaneously, almost in another universe, Stephen Fisher, the producer and director, was quietly building production companies, championing environmental causes and powerful documentaries like The Cove, earning an Academy Award for it, and structuring these massive, successful docuseries like The Emmy-winning Beckham.
So Fisher-Stevens is the definition, really, of a multi-hyphenate artist. He didn't just sample different fields. He achieved mastery, genuine mastery, in 2 entirely separate professional categories.
The highly visible actor and the critically respected off-screen documentarian.
And he did it over the course of 4 decades. It's incredible.
It is the ultimate portrait, perhaps, of a calculated, successful, dual-tracking career in a modern, often unforgiving entertainment industry.
He leveraged his visibility, maybe the money from acting, to fund his passion projects.
And his serious passion work, the documentaries, provided the gravitas needed to be taken seriously as a director and collaborator in the highest echelons of prestige narrative filmmaking, like with Wes Anderson or directing Palmer. It's a virtuous cycle. Which I think raises an important final question for you to consider, something to mull over. We noted that his name change from Stephen Fisher to Fisher-Stevens was a pragmatic requirement of the Screen Actors Guild, right? Just a rule.
Just a practical necessity at the time.
But did that early necessary act of creating a distinct professional pseudonym actually enable the immense breadth of his subsequent career? Did the strategic separation, intended or not, of the actor brand and the serious artist, did that allow him the creative and financial freedom to take on the deep, risky nonfiction dives, the ones that ultimately resulted in his most prestigious awards?
That's a really interesting thought. Did the separation itself become the key?
Maybe. That separation might just be the secret ingredient to not just success, but decades-long, multifaceted dominance in the entertainment industry. Something to think about.